Wow. As I was walking into the room tonight, one of my staff whispered into my ear, "Let's do this tomorrow night." There are people standing outside who couldn't get in this room tonight. I'm just overwhelmed. My name is John Loeks. I'm the owner of Studio 28 and Celebration Cinema, and it's my pleasure to welcome you here this evening to what will be the final performance in the #1 auditorium at Studio 28. Thank you for coming. You are the people that make this place great. And so it's a very special pleasure to be with you tonight. With me are my family. We have 3 generations in the movie business. The first generation is represented by my mother, who is sitting here in the second row, Ruth Loeks. Thanks, Mom, for coming. I really appreciate that. She stood by my dad as he put his best thoughts together. And then I came along, been running the company since 1990. And then to my great pleasure, my son J.D., who's standing with me, with his wife, and my granddaughter Eliza. So Allison and J.D. and Eliza, thanks for being here. My wife Mary Loeks. My daughter Emily, who is also in the business and does all of our community connections work and is responsible for a large part of the party tonight. Thank you, Emily. Her husband Aaron Kortenhoven. And who knows, maybe another generation in the theater business, Josh Loeks Kortenhoven. Let's hope we can keep going. Well, we can't keep going in Studio 28. But I must say, this is an overwhelming surprise and pleasure to see so many people turning out. I just really didn't expect it. And I think it's a tribute to the place. The American Motion Picture Theater is so important to our culture because it's the place stories are told. I've been out in the lobby today since about 2:30 this afternoon, listening to your stories, some of you, not all of you obviously, but some of you have told me your stories. Told me some delightful recollections of things you did here. I've talked to dozens of people about first dates and first employment opportunities, and well, I talked to the guy that serviced the airplane that my father flew. You know, this is not a baptism, he doesn't have to stand up here. Yeah. I think we just scared him. First movie-going experience in the studio, and he's already scared. Anyway. Oh, dear. But I talked to the fellow who serviced the airplane that my father may have been flying when he flew over this site before it was even a drive-in theater. And this is incredible to me. I talked to a man who helped build this theater. I've talked to so many wonderful people. And I guess my point is, these are your stories. Each one of us has a story. And when we share these stories with each other, those stories become part of our own stories. And you've been generous in that way. And I mentioned repeatedly the word story because the American Motion Picture Theater is the center of the very best storytelling. We learn stories about ourselves everywhere, in our families, in our churches, in our schools, on the playing fields, in our workplaces. But the master craftsmen of storytelling are the people who make the pictures that show on these screens. And obviously, you've connected with those stories. You've connected those stories to your lives in many different ways. And I think that's terrific. And it's been such a pleasure to provide this service to this city and this town and this region. And it's so regrettable to me that we have to come to this point where the theater, because of the way it was constructed, is no longer efficient and can't sustain itself with the revenues it has with so many other theaters. So somebody said to me, is this the end of an era? And I said, no, Studio 28 is the beginning of an era. Never forget that this theater is where the megaplex was invented, and you were part of that. So thank you. People all over the world today see motion pictures in theaters like this because of what Jack Loeks invented here. And so thank you for being part of that. I won't go on any longer. As the movie says, Madagascar, it's time to move it, move it. So let's move it, move it. Good night.